Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Terry Tornick, Mayor of Pasadena. Welcome and thank you for joining us in celebrating Veterans Day. Please rise as the colors are presented.
Color, attention, carry, colors. Forward, march, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, 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 right. March time, march, left, left, right, color guard, halt, left face, present, colors.
Please place your hands over your heart and follow me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry, color. Order, color.
Please take your seats.
Hooray, reps.
Each November 11th, we take time as a community and as a nation to honor, extend gratitude, and pay tribute to the many heroes who have served our great country over the generations. We gather today to honor the sacrifices made by the military's men and women, past and present, and their families. To our men and women in uniform, to our veteran service organizations, and to the proud veterans and family members joining us here in Centennial Square, it is a privilege to be with you today as we join together in observance of Veterans Day. We offer our thanks and support to our veterans today in honor of the sacrifices they have made to protect our country and our freedoms. Today, let us renew our commitment to creating a better world for which our veterans have sacrificed, and may we draw strength from the legacy of their service. We also honor our local organizations and institutions that support our veterans and active military. Pasadena City College has the #1 program in California for returning veterans from the long wars, and the Pasadena Unified School District provides the opportunity for Pasadena's youth to become tomorrow's distinguished military leaders through its ROTC program. Thank you to the Pasadena Veterans Day Committee for organizing this celebration and for their work in advocating on behalf of our veterans. At this time, I would like to introduce our Master of Ceremonies and Chair of the Pasadena Veterans Day Committee, former Mayor, Mr. Bill Thompson.
Thank you very much. I am extremely grateful for this opportunity to serve Pasadena and our community as the Master of Ceremonies for this Veterans Day celebration. Excuse me. The military has been a huge factor in my life. My father served in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in India, Burma, and China during the Second World War. 3 brothers of my wife, Carol, also served our country during World War II in the Marines and the Navy. Another of Carol's brothers served in the Army during the Korean War. A 5th brother served in the Army in Vietnam in the midst of that war. Fresh out of college, I served in Germany as a lieutenant in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers with the 3rd Infantry Division, with very definite responsibilities and actions to be taken in the event of certain movements and actions by the Russian Army. My military experience truly changed my life positively and forever. These past 8 years, I've been privileged to be able to work with and support the nearly 800 veterans we have at Pasadena City College. These remarkable men and women face very significant challenges as they return to civilian life after their active duty military service in war zones such as Afghanistan and Iraq. It is our honor to recognize these veterans who are with us today. As military veterans, we all recognize and understand that truth and honesty are central values in our lives, and we live our lives with this principle foremost each and every day. So it's quite appropriate that we now bring forward Father Anthony Scannell, who will deliver the invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Father Scannell is a Franciscan priest who lives in La Cañada Flintridge at St. Francis High School. He has served as president of Franciscan Communications in Los Angeles, as president of the National International Organization for Catholic Broadcasting, and now serves all of us at Holy Family Church in South Pasadena. Please join me in welcoming Father Anthony Scannell.
Thank you. I invite you to draw within your hearts so that this blessing can come from there. And I invite all the veterans who are present here, if they wish, to bow their heads so they can receive it. Almighty God, we address this prayer for blessings to you, whom our Declaration of Independence calls nature's God, creator, supreme judge of the world, and divine providence. Multiple names for the multiple ways we address you in our nation. But we have a single purpose here this morning, to ask your blessing on our veterans in gratitude for all they do for us. On the East Coast portal of our country, Lady Liberty beckons. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Today we honor and ask a blessing on all those veterans who would offer their service to keep us breathing free. But one blessing cannot fit all. There are veterans among us who have special needs and need special blessings. Bless those veterans who have come home only to become homeless. Bless those veterans who are our wounded warriors, who suffer traumas and loss of limb or sight or mobility. And bless also those 5.5 million family members across our country who care for them. Bless those veterans who must wait months or even years to have their wounds addressed by those appointed for their care. For our record of taking care of veterans is not as good as their record of taking care of us. And bless all those veterans whose names will never appear on any memorial, but who have served proudly and faithfully, and sometimes even without the respect and honor and gratitude of their fellow citizens. We ask you to protect and bless those veterans all over the world who this moment are fighting for us. And bless finally all those veterans with us here this morning, in or out of uniform, and those who are here only in their memories as fallen comrades. And on a less serious, but just as sincere note, bless all those hot dogs we shall joyfully devour in their honor. Amen.
Thank you very much, Father Scannell. At this time, we have the distinct honor of having Monet Bonaris with us, who is going to sing our national anthem. At least I hope that she is here. There she is. She is the daughter of Michelle Bonaris, who is the city attorney for the city of Pasadena. So it's delightful and a great pleasure to have you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. May you please rise. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's stars gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ready?
Monet, I'm sure that Michelle will be very, very proud of you, as well-deservedly so. Thank you so very much for being with us and for singing the national anthem for us. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Vito Imbasciani, hope I haven't pronounced your name too poorly there, who is the California Secretary for Veteran Affairs. Just recently, I think, stepped aside veteran himself. He's going to present a proclamation to us.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Good morning, everyone, and congratulations to all our veterans. I am Vito Imbasciani, the Secretary of the California Department of Veterans Affairs. I bring you greetings today from our governor in Sacramento and from all the Californians who work in the Department of Veterans Affairs to take care of the needs of the 2 million veterans in California. A proclamation. Veterans Day began as Armistice Day, a holiday commemorating the end of World War I on November 11, 1918. All too soon, it became clear that this had not been the war to end all wars, some optimists claim. After a second global conflict that dwarfed the first in its magnitude of destruction, countries around the world began changing their observances to encompass all conflicts and honor those who served. Our own Veterans Day was established as a national holiday by congressional resolution and presidential proclamation in 1954. Today, nearly 2 million veterans live in California. Among them are men and women who served in World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, and our current wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as various smaller engagements and peacetime deployments. As we remember our brave Americans today, we should consider their valor and suffering in the service of our country and the challenges they face on returning home. Some of our veterans suffer from high rates of disability, poverty, unemployment, and homelessness. We cannot glibly claim to honor our heroes while leaving them to suffer from social and economic ills. So this Veterans Day, let us welcome all our returning veterans with open arms, and as President Eisenhower said in his 1954 proclamation, let us reconsecrate ourselves to the task of promoting and enduring peace so that their efforts will not have been in vain. Now, therefore, I, Edmund G. Brown, Jr., Governor of the State of California, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2015 as Veterans Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here and taking part in our program and presenting this important proclamation to us. It's now my distinct pleasure to introduce our congressional representative, Congresswoman Judy Chu. I've had the pleasure of working with her at Pasadena City College with respect to some of the veterans' activities there, particularly working to see if it's realistic and possible to locate a veterans medical clinic, I should say, on the campus of Pasadena City College. So please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Judy Chu.
I am so honored to be here in the city of Pasadena to celebrate and thank our veterans. First, let me say to those of you who were members of our armed services, you sacrificed for us so that we could enjoy our freedom as a nation. We cannot express our gratitude enough for what you have done for our country. Can we have every veteran here stand, and can we give them a huge round of applause? On Veterans Day, I always think of my father. He served during World War II in the Pacific in the Army as a radio communications sergeant. In fact, it was Okinawa. It was a life-changing experience for him. He passed away this year at the age of 91, but he was always so proud of his service to his country. It is with my father in mind that I know we must do everything we can for the 21 million veterans who served in our armed services in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, and who are now returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. This is why everybody across America was outraged when we found out that there was mismanagement at certain Veterans Administration facilities. Veterans faced excessive wait times to see a doctor, even when they were very ill and required constant care. As a result, veterans with illnesses kept getting sicker as they went through hoops to get the care they needed. And that is why last year we in Congress had to change the law. Now, veterans who live more than 40 miles from a VA facility or who have waited more than 30 days for an appointment are eligible to seek out private health care providers that can attend to them much sooner. The law strengthens education opportunities for veterans. Now, when going to public schools that receive GI Bill benefits, veterans, no matter what state they are from, must receive the lower tuition and tuition rates of that school. And now, the spouses of service members who died in the line of duty, who suffered so much from the death of their loved one, will receive the GI Bill benefits that their spouses would have had. I was also shocked about the lack of access that veterans had to health care right here at home. Right now, the terrible truth is that there is no veterans health care clinic in the San Gabriel Valley. Veterans are forced to make long trips to health centers several miles outside our region in order to obtain treatment for injuries and trauma. And so we pressed the VA for a clinic here in the San Gabriel Valley. The VA agreed to provide staffing, but we needed a site. And thank goodness Pasadena City College stepped forward. But PCC needed one-time infrastructure funds of $300,000 to make this a reality. I am happy to tell you that with the help of the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Disabled American Veterans, and several community leaders, we have made great progress towards this goal. And in fact, it was the Pasadena Post of the American Legion, Post 13, that donated the first $10,000 towards this project. Yes, thank you, Post 13. There is still more work to do and challenges to overcome, but if we make all the agreements, then this will be the first of its kind partnership in the nation. We hope this clinic could open up within 2 years, and I know that the PCC has played such a magnificent role in this. Could we please acknowledge them? Could every PCC administrator and Board of Trustees please stand and be acknowledged? Each and every year, we take a day out of the lives of Americans to honor the brave men and women who protect our freedom. Access to health care and an affordable education are just some of the small ways we can repay our veterans. But let us never forget that they risked their lives so that we can enjoy this freedom every single day. On the battlefield, the military pledges to leave no service member behind. We must promise that when they return home, we leave no veteran behind. It's the least we can do for those who've done so much for us. It's a privilege to be here to celebrate the contributions of our men and women who have served and also those who are serving us today. And I want to thank the City of Pasadena for doing such a great job with this Veterans Day event. If I may present a certificate of congressional recognition to the City of Pasadena for this magnificent event.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Chu. It's always a delight to have you with us and to work with you. At this moment, I have to introduce some VIPs, some very important people, and I don't have a list of them, so I probably will no doubt miss a few people. But let me start. I think we've got from the Pasadena City Council, Gene Masuda is with us. I don't know if anybody else in the council is here or not. Tyrone Hampton, I'm sorry. From the PCC Board of Trustees, we have Ross Selvage, who is here. You've met Mr. Tornick, the mayor of Pasadena. I think we've got Chief Philip Sanchez with us, from Pasadena Police Department. We've got, who else we got here who is an important person? John Watkins, a longtime veteran and my predecessor as the Master of Ceremonies for this important event. And unless I'm missing somebody, who you're pointing to? Oh, the fire chief, okay. I'm sorry. No one gave me a list of these people, so I'm ad-libbing it up here, so that's what happens sometimes. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce once again the Pasadena City College pep band, led by Mark Miller today. The band is going to play anthems for the Army, the Marines, Navy, Coast Guard, Air Force. We ask all veterans for these branches of service to stand as your anthem is played. The Gold Star family should also stand and be recognized at this time. So, Mr. Miller? Great. Thank you so much. Isn't the Pasadena City College pep band magnificent? Let's give them a special round of applause here. Thank you. It's now my honor and pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for this morning, Lieutenant Colonel Garth Massey. He is the fairly recently become the commander of the 2nd Battalion of the 23rd Marine Regiment that's actually headquartered in Pasadena. He is the commander of about 1,005 Reserve Marines. He's assisted by a small active duty cadre of instructors and administrators. He actually lives in La Cañada, Flint Ridge. He's married to Kathleen. They are parents of 5 children. He's a graduate of San Diego University, and interestingly, that's where he met Kathleen. Those things do happen. He says his life was changed forever at that experience. So please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Garth Massey.
Thank you, Mayor Tornick, Bill, members of the Pasadena City Council, for giving me this opportunity to speak to you today. I appreciate it. I've come here as the commanding officer of the Marine Reserve Battalion that's fortunate enough to be stationed here locally in Pasadena. We are 2nd Battalion, 23rd Marines. And what an ideal day to gather here together, Veterans Day. The day on which our country celebrates its service members and takes notice of their commitment to this great nation, their commitment to each other. It's that spirit that enables us to continue to live as a free nation. See, Veterans Day celebrates the men and women that have answered the call of our country to stand and take their place in the breach, to protect our nation, our neighbors, and as a result, all of our families. There are so many incredible veteran stories of courage and bravery under fire, but they're not all stories of combat. In fact, over 80% of today's missions have nothing to do with warfare. Veterans around the world support humanitarian missions too. We bring food, water. We build shelter and give aid to our brethren who are in harm's way throughout the world. Our military is the first to come when natural disaster strikes and whenever there are people in need. Earning the title of veteran involves so much more than just closing in and destroying the enemy. Today, we commend the individuals that forgo their comfort and their safety so that they can sustain others. A veteran's greatness is not the sum of his individual accomplishments, but it rests more in the belief and in our confidence in each other. Their unwavering commitment to serve, both on and off the battlefield, is exemplary to all of humankind. It's not that our veterans are not individually resilient. They are fighters. Any force that fails to realize this will be made keenly aware in short order. But our real strength rests in how we are hardwired to be organizationally focused to make any situation we encounter better. The innate desire to serve the nation extends first to the soldier, the sailor, the airman, the Marine, to our left and to our right. Our veterans hold the line. Be assured, they're warriors, but warriors still bleed. They still shed tears. They still rejoice alongside with the rest of the country. We're not immune to the fears of humanity, and individually, we live like all other Americans who work to do their best to make this world a safe place for our family and our neighbors. But it's in the communal that we can accomplish incredible things. It's our togetherness that permits us to answer the call, that stretches us out and helps us reach and take a stand against adversity. It's our belief in each other that empowers us to make that stand. Veterans believe they can achieve things because we as a nation say they can. My friend Jason was embedded with the Iraqi National Army. He was training and living with them as they formed their fledgling military under a new government. One day while on patrol, he was caught with a sniper round. It passed through his body armor on one side and came out on the other, and it ruptured every organ in between. He was left in the middle of the road, under fire and critically wounded. By that time in the war, we developed something called the golden hour. If you could get to a regimental aid station within an hour of getting injured, your odds of recovery were very high, and every deployed service member knew this. If you made it to the aid station, you'd live. And Jason believed this too. He pulled himself off the road and into a ditch where he called his own medevac. When the extract vehicle arrived, he directed their fire on the remaining enemy positions and was loaded into the back. Alone in the trunk of the Humvee, he discovered the hole on his left side. It was bothering him, so he plugged it with his hand. He reached around and felt pain on the right side too, and he plugged that with the other hand. He told himself, I only have to stay awake until I get to the aid station and back to my brothers, and then I'll live. Jason says the last thing he thought as they dropped the tailgate, as he saw the hospital scrubs, was, I made it. 5 days later, he awoke in Germany, where he was told he would never walk again. But his Marines and his family didn't accept that. They refused to believe that as a result, and neither did he. Today, he's back on active service, serving as a sergeant with a local police department down in Orange County. Because of his sense of service to others, it's our belief in each other that makes us strong. And veterans, you're called to service. You're called to do more than just observe our world. We're called to take action. When my unit deployed to Africa, we struggled while conducting patrols in a small village on the border with Somalia. Children would throw rocks as we passed by. Adults would stand and stare menacingly. They were clearly displeased with our presence. Our job was to provide security to the local base, which served as a port to the Red Sea and helped support our partner nations in the Horn of Africa. We could have continued just to patrol, to fight the threat, but we took a different approach. We took a human approach because that was the underlying thread that calls all of us to service. The village where we patrolled had a soccer field next to a landfill. It was creeping into the corner, and the arena was filled with trash, stones, broken glass. The field itself was in bad shape. During the rainy season, people had destroyed the grounds, walking to and fro across the mud, returning to their homes and going to work. When the sun returned and baked the ground, the footprints became as hard as concrete, rendering the soccer field unusable, especially in light of the fact that none of the local children had shoes. Our Marines saw the need and formed a team. They rode out to the village with buses full of volunteers from every branch of service on the base. They cleaned trash and shoveled it off the field. We tied a fence to the back of a Humvee and dragged it around like a Zamboni on sand until the field was smooth and free of danger. Then, with the soccer ball sent to us in care packages from home, we played. We left our weapons down and we played with the children of the village, and we left the balls behind us when we left. We never had any trouble from that village again. And using that experience as a benchmark, we launched several other projects all around the city and around the base. We saw a need and did what we could to serve others. Veterans, you serve more than yourself. And it doesn't stop when you come home. This year marks the loss of many of our brothers and sisters. One man, Brett, succumbed to some infections and an illness earlier this year. He's a Desert Storm vet who lost both legs to a landmine, developed some complications, and unfortunately passed earlier this year. In his last months, Brett saw his former squad mates come over nearly daily. They put together a working party. They raised money. They came to his house and fixed everything. The walls, the paint, the yard. They didn't want him to have to worry about his wife taking care of the house once he was gone. They sat with him while he ate, they talked with him, and they even bathed him to give his wife a break. They'd served together 25 years ago, and they were still there when he needed them. Dedication to each other, it's part of the veteran culture. I'm thankful for every generation of vet, each sacrifice that's been inspirational to service members like me. Your stories are why I'm here and why I serve as a Marine today. The tales you tell, some of them tall, are shared by family and friends and filled my head with examples of teamwork, dedication, leadership. These stories are the framework for everything our great nation rests on. Thank you for everything you gave and continue to give. But I'm also here to ask for more. Ruck up, veterans. Answer the call today. If you peaked when you hung up your uniform, the nation is missing out on everything you've learned, everything that you've become. Take the freedom that you fought for and get out there. Build something. Grow something. Doesn't matter if you make a business, develop a team, volunteer, but take the time to mentor and teach. Veterans, you're a small society of warriors inside our great nation. Our history proves our strength, and our past has forged what we are today. But your story, shared with today's servicemen and women, prepares us to stand ready here in the present. As certain as the sunrise will come after the night, our nation's warriors will be called again to stand and protect the things we hold most dear. Wear your scars proudly. They showed you've lived. But also, find a way to share. Share your tales. We want to hear them. Share your time. Use it to build the community around you. It's what veterans do best. We fight as a team. We fought for freedom, so I know I don't have to remind you, but you are free, and what you do with it is up to you. I personally believe that's what makes veterans count. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for your service. As we say in the Marine Corps, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. And happy Veterans Day from me and from all the Marines of Pasadena, 2nd Battalion, 23rd Marines.
Thank you very much, Colonel Massey. That was terrific, and we're so appreciative of your involvement, not just with the veterans, but with the community at large, and we look forward to working with you together as we move on into the future. I made a mistake last year, and I just about made it again this year. I forgot to introduce one very important person. Former Mayor Bill Paparian. Would you please stand, Bill? Not only is he a former mayor and a VIP in that capacity, he also serves very, very intimately and positively on our committee that plans these events. And so if I had done it 2 times in a row, 2 years in a row, I'd be in serious trouble. So I also want to give a recognition to the Blair High School ROT Color Guard. You have them in front of you here. Please recognize them. And also to a gentleman named Rafi, and I'm going to pronounce the last name horribly, Bichkadian, who is with the Pasadena Firefighters Local 809, and when we're through with all this, we're going to have him and his group together to thank very much for the food that's being provided after this service is over. Just sincere thanks for your service, your dedication to our country, and all of you. So God bless America, and God bless us this day. Thank you. That will now conclude our program.